Hey everyone, Gary here with Tennessee Stands. Today is January 14th, and that means that our General Assembly convenes today for the new 114th General Assembly. So you'll start seeing a lot more regular updates from Tennessee Stands asking you to take action and advocate on a variety of different bills. But as it turns out, looks like the rumors are true. There's been no official call yet, but all indications are, now that legislators are getting back in the session, is that the governor plans to call a special session beginning on January 27th for school choice, for the vouchers. Now, let me really quickly, because there's a couple of really important items that I want you to see that, trust me, if you care about this voucher issue, you absolutely have to see. So bear with me. But just quickly about the special session. The Constitution gives the governor the power to call a special session for what the Constitution calls extraordinary occasions. That's the metric, extraordinary occasions. Now, courts have not really opined on what that means, because they've chosen in several states across the country not to get involved with particularly the Constitution's provision of a governor to call a special session under his own executive authority. But when you just read the plain reading of the text, what would you assume is an extraordinary occasion? Well, something that's urgent, an emergency, something that needs immediate attention. Well, there's nothing about vouchers at all that requires immediate attention or is urgent, primarily because the General Assembly is already in session. So there's a reason the governor would call a special session, and what the function of that is that the regular session now has to go into recess, and the legislators now have to focus solely on the governor's agenda. In other words, of the 1,000 bills or so that are going to get filed, the governor is asking the legislature to set all of that aside, and he's forcing them with his constitutional power beginning on January 27th to deal with school choice right now. The governor shouldn't be doing this. Look, and in fact, just in terms of Bill Lee's history with special sessions, if you recall, in 2021, he flat refused to call a special session for COVID to defend the rights and liberties of individuals, yet he called a special session for the $1 billion boondoggle to finance Ford's new electric vehicle plant out in West Tennessee. Then, in 2023, the governor calls a special session to do what? To institute red flag laws, to take your guns away due to the Covenant shooting in Nashville. And now the government uses his power to call the legislature to deal with school vouchers, even though they're already in session. So that's what's happening. That's most likely going to be the case. And that special session is set to begin on January 27th. And the big question is right now, does he have the votes to pull this off? So I want to show you this. We've talked a lot about vouchers and why we oppose this wealth redistribution scheme. But one of the issues we've also discussed is the fact that because of non-discriminatory laws, you cannot stop this voucher money from being spent in religious schools. Now, to a lot of us who are believers, we're like, well, that's great. We love our small, parochial schools, and there's great education opportunities for students in these Christian schools. But oftentimes, what we don't realize is, well, that means that the government doesn't just have to fund Christian schools; it also has to fund other religious schools. And so, for example, right now, I just want everybody in Tennessee to know what your legislature is about to vote on. Right now, the voucher program in Memphis is funding this list of schools here, including Pleasant View School in Bartlett, a K-12 school in Bartlett. So let's go take a look really quick at Pleasant View School, which your tax dollars are already funding in an ESA program in Shelby County. This is an Islamic school. Pleasant View School is a Muslim school. Let me show you the front picture here. Here we go. Here's your teachers. Here's all the students. And let's just go to the About Us page really quickly. And so the introduction, it's our pleasure to welcome you. Pleasant View School was founded to serve the needs of a growing and diverse Muslim community here in Memphis, Tennessee. And their mission is to prepare generations of scholars with a strong Islamic identity, leadership, and academic excellence who make a contribution to the global community. Their vision is to establish a distinguished Islamic institution in North America which develops exemplary Muslims with academic excellence. School of objectives, a strong identity that reflects pride in Islam and a clear sense of mission, character, values, and morals that are aligned with the teachers of Islam, the ability and desire to properly perform their spiritual duties, including prayer, fasting, and pilgrimage. I just want to take you really quick to the section of their website that talks about their departments. And you can see that, some key areas of study here are the Arabic language, Islamic studies, and Quranic studies. And again, to read some of these bullet points, it's important to note the mission and vision of this school. For example, right here, in the pre-kindergarten and lower elementary grades, students learn what it means to fully live a practicing Islamic lifestyle, and the manner of teaching is done in a way that aims at ensuring that they will live such a lifestyle. Upper elementary grades have an in-depth understanding of the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, and their companions in early generations of Muslims that indicate these Muslim role models. In middle school, they learned more about the rules of hadith and all of these Islamic rules. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce all these things because I'm not a Muslim. But my point is to make sure you understand something very clear. Right now, today, we talk about the threat of a program like this using your tax dollars, and I want to make this point because this is crucial to understand. Special interests has a lot of conservatives believing, you're just getting your money back. This is your money, you're getting your money back. And I have exhausted almost all of the breath that I have, including writing a book, which I'll get to at the end of this video, that we really want to make sure you take an opportunity to read. It's a quick 30-minute read. But we've exhausted ourselves trying to explain that this is not your money. It's not the way that it works. This is government funded. These are tax dollars. These are your tax dollars. And right now, today, your tax dollars are already funding an Islamic school in the middle of Memphis that is teaching students to be a good Muslim, to praise the Prophet Muhammad, to make a pilgrimage, to live their lives under the auspices of the Islamic religion. Your tax dollars are already funding that in Memphis. And so what Governor Bill Lee wants to propose now with HB1, SB1 is to expand that activity to all 95 counties. I mean, we don't want to just teach Muslims in Memphis. Why would we spend our tax dollars educating Muslims in Memphis when we can educate Muslims in all 95 counties? I mean, wouldn't it be great if we can spend our tax dollars teaching all of Tennessee how to praise and worship the Prophet Muhammad? Wouldn't that be wonderful? That is in essence part of the proposal that Governor Bill Lee currently has on the table in front of conservatives, and idiot special interest groups out of D.C. have so many conservatives believing that this is just, it's good. We're gonna subsidize good Christian schools, and this is just your money at work, your hard tax dollars. It's not your tax dollars. It's government funding things that I believe most Tennesseans don't want to fund. I would wager that most of you, if not all of you, watching this video, do not want to see your tax dollars funding Islamic education. But we are. And that situation is only going to be exacerbated by the Education Freedom Act of 2025. Moving on, let me take you to something else that you very much need to see. You've been told that, there'll be no strings attached. Nobody's going to regulate anything. In fact, they've even written into the bill. I did a video a few weeks ago, 30 minutes, lining out everything that was in this current bill. And in the bill, it says, schools remain autonomy. We're not going to regulate, at least for right now. And they have effectively written the great majority, I'll say. I can't say all for certain. But through their definitions, they've written out most of homeschoolers from being able to participate in this program, which is a good thing because we don't want government funds touching our homeschools. But personally, I don't want them touching our private schools either. I've made the case for that. But let me show you this bill that's been filed. That was filed yesterday, in fact, on the 13th, by the lovely Senator Adam Lowe out of Athens, Tennessee. And he's filed SB 122. And I'll read this caption here. It says, as introduced, eliminates various requirements for parents conducting a homeschool if the parent provides normed curriculum to their child at home. Unfortunately, I'm not exactly sure what normed curriculum is, and this bill does not define what normed curriculum is. Maybe someone out there that's much smarter than me can help me understand legally what the definition of a normed curriculum is. But it also says this, let's keep reading, allows the state to impose additional requirements and standards on a homeschool parent or student if the homeschool parent or student voluntarily elects to participate in a state program or applies and receives state funds. In other words, in the Education Freedom Bill, the language says, well, we're not going to regulate anybody. There's no strings attached. Here's some money. Okay? Which I've been trying to make the case is a bunch of hogwash. There are always strings attached to government funds. And even if they're attached right now, there's nothing that will restrict them from being attached in the future once you've been locked in to accepting government funds. But now you've got SB 122, which is being filed as a separate piece of legislation. And I'll take you to the actual bill language because I want you to see this piece right here. And again, bear with me because I want to read this section to you. Because I'll be honest, a portion of this bill does reduce some current regulations that are on homeschoolers now. There's some reporting requirements to local school districts that this bill removes. The big problem with this bill is this subsection. And so let me read it to you. This subdivision does not prohibit this state, by the way, or an agency of this state, like the Department of Education, from regulating, overseeing, or otherwise imposing requirements, future requirements, on a parent, teacher, or homeschool student if the parent, teacher, or homeschool student voluntarily elects to participate in a state program that imposes certain requirements or standards on participants that exceed those established in this section. And then there's an or. See the or here? And so here's a second condition. Or who has otherwise applied for and received what? What's the next two words? This is like Sunday school. It's like reading the Bible. Received what? State funds for which this state or an agency, again, like the Department of Education, has promulgated rules. Again, I've talked about that over and over again. It's not just the fear of future laws, but it's the promulgated rules. And you must understand that rules can be promulgated outside of legislative action. So once the big hoorah passes legislatively, which it's in the news, everybody's talking about it, everybody's contacting their once the parade is over, well, then the rules come. And those are the things you don't see. Those are the committee rooms and hearing rooms that you're not in. Those are the things that are not in the news and that advocacy organizations don't talk about. It's the rules that are promulgated on a monthly basis without you ever knowing about it. And those things are public record. The problem is they're not publicized. Nobody's talking about it, so they just quietly make the rules. And so what is this saying? Saying what we're not, you may not be regulated today, but if you're a homeschool parent and you choose to receive state funds in the future, just so you know, there may be established requirements or standards that exceed the requirements of this section. What are they telling you here? They are telling you in black and white what we've been telling you for over a year now. You may not see the regulatory requirements on the money today. That does not mean that you will not see the regulatory requirements in the future. And let me ask Senator Adam Lowe and GOP leadership, I think was a great question. If your intention, because what you say is, well, we're not going to do that here in Tennessee. We're going to protect homeschoolers. We're going to protect private schools. We're going to give them money, but we're going to let them remain autonomous. We're not going to regulate anybody. If that's the case, then why run a bill? Why run a bill and in the writings say, well, we might regulate you in the future? Why is that language necessary in a Republican-run piece of legislation? Why is language like that necessary if you're saying you're not going to regulate private circumstances? You're not going to regulate private education. You're not going to regulate what happens in a parent's home. But that's not what you're saying. Out of your mouth on radio and on digital ads that DC politicians and special interest groups are paying tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars for, you're running these ads telling parents, oh, you just get $7,000 and it's all good. But then you're running a bill that says, well, there's state funds available, but just so you know, we might put additional requirements on those in the future. We just want to let you know. And that's the message. And by the way, I want to make sure you see something here. People call me they say I'm gaslighting because I'm telling people that these are government funds and it's wealth redistribution. They're just refunding their money. And the special interests are telling you this is just your money. You're just getting a refund of your money. But when the state passes laws, when the state drafts laws, here's what they say. They call them state funds. And so I'm just trying to get you to see past the noise. I'm trying to get you to see past the lies that these special interest groups are spewing in digital ads and push polls and on crappy news stations like 99.7, where they tell you, oh, it's just free money. There's no requirements. And Gary Humble's an idiot. You're getting your money back. This is your tax dollars. Yet I'm trying to tell you, your tax dollars are gone. This isn't your money. They've already taken it. And now they get to do what they want to do with it. And the amount they may choose to return to you, you don't get freedom with that money. You have to abide by their rules. Let me ask you something. If you write a check, and when you write that check, you have to follow someone else's rules to spend the money. Bear with me here. If you cut a check out of your account and you spend the money, but you have to follow someone else's rules, is it your money or is it someone else's money? We're talking elementary here, but so many of you, good conservatives, have been convinced by really slick marketing that you don't know what's conservative anymore. I'm trying to make this plain to you. I'm telling you, these are state funds. The state is telling you, these are state funds. I'm telling you, there will be future regulations that follow this money. The state is telling you, there may be future regulations that follow this money. Don't believe the special interest talking points. They are lying to you. And I'm doing everything I can to show you the truth in black and white. So I'll take you to one final thing. Here's what you can do. You can go right now to TennesseeStands.org/vouchers. That's TennesseeStands.org/vouchers. I've put a really simple book together. It's like 40 pages. I promise you, it's a 30-minute read. This is like 18 pages typed, 6,000 words. This isn't a big deal. You can sit down in 30 minutes and read it. If you would like a printed copy or you would like to download it to your Kindle, you can do that. There's the links right here. You can do that at Amazon. It's super cheap. It's $3.99 for the book. It's 99 cents for the Kindle. But we want to make sure you get this information. So you can scroll down right here. You can click on this download button and you can download this PDF for absolutely free. We don't even ask you for an email address. We ask you for nothing. Click the download link and here's the book. It's a book called Strings Attached, and I go in detail on the threats of school vouchers. I use some examples from around the country, some examples from around the world, like Sweden, who started school choice in 1992, and now, guess what? There's no more school choice. It's just government schools. So the book's there. You can also click on the Take Action buttons on this website, and right now you can go to TennesseeStands.org, and we give you the argument. You can click a button and contact your state legislators today. So it's all there at TennesseeStands.org/vouchers. Download the book for free. Get educated. Understand that your tax dollars today are funding Islamic education right now. This bill would expand that to all 95 counties, not just Memphis and Nashville and Chattanooga, all across the state, right? Hear me. And also, we're running a bill right now saying we might regulate homeschool dollars in the future. Listen to the warning signs now, read the book, and please contact your legislators and tell them to oppose this bill. Let's not put the voucher scam on the tracks today in Tennessee. Keep private education private. Thank you. God bless.